You know that feeling, right? When you feel completely stuck in your relationship, having the same argument over and over again. It's beyond frustrating. But what if the way out isn't about fighting harder or trying to win? What if it's about doing something completely different, something kind of counterintuitive? Well, today we're going to explore a really powerful way to break those cycles for good.
So, first things first, we've got to understand the trap we all fall into. Look, we all want a better, richer, fuller relationship. Of course we do. But sometimes our best efforts to fix things, to get rid of all those painful feelings, can actually make the trap clamp down even tighter. I mean, really think about it for a second. That same old disagreement that just keeps popping up, that familiar feeling of disconnection, it's a loop, and so many of us get caught in it. But the key to escaping it? It's probably not what you think.
And here it is. This is the big idea that changes everything. The conflict, the hurt feelings, the difficult thoughts, that's not the trap. The trap is our constant, exhausting struggle to get rid of all of it. See, when we pour all our energy into fighting what's going on inside of us, we have literally no energy left to actually connect with our partner. That battle, that's what keeps us stuck.
So, if we want to get out of this trap, we need a new way to look at our actions. Let's just forget right versus wrong for a minute, and instead ask this: is what I'm doing workable or unworkable? An unworkable action might feel good right now, like winning an argument, but long term, it just makes things worse. A workable action, on the other hand, is one that moves you toward the relationship you actually want, even if it feels tough in the moment.
So, how do we start choosing more of those workable behaviors? Well, that question leads us to this amazing framework for change. It's a therapeutic approach with a really fitting name: acceptance and commitment therapy, or as everyone calls it, ACT therapy. And ACT therapy isn't about trying to make bad feelings disappear. It really boils down to two main things. First, there's acceptance. That means making room for those painful thoughts and emotions instead of constantly fighting them. And second, there's commitment. This is all about taking action that's guided by what you truly value, even when those difficult feelings are still hanging around.
This quote from Dr. Russ Harris just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. The goal isn't a life without any pain, because let's be real, that's impossible. The real goal is a rich, full, meaningful life. And ACT therapy gives us the tools to build that life, not by avoiding pain, but by accepting that it's part of the deal and focusing our energy on what really matters to us. Okay, so you might be thinking, how do we actually do this? That's the best part. ACT isn't just a nice idea, it's a practical set of skills. Let's break down the 6 core principles that make up your toolkit for change. Think of these like 6 muscles you're going to develop. First up is diffusion. That's learning to see your thoughts as just thoughts, not as commands you have to obey. It just breaks their power. Next is acceptance. Again, not about liking the pain, but about dropping the rope in that tug of war with it. Then there's being present, pulling yourself into the here and now, which is the only place you can actually connect with someone. Then you have self-observation, which gives you that crucial little pause to notice what's happening inside you before you react. And that leads you right to identifying your values. Like, what kind of partner do you really, truly want to be? And finally, you take committed action, making choices guided by those values, not by whatever feeling is showing up that day.
Now, I know this all sounds great in theory, but the big question is, does it actually work? Well, let's pivot for a second and look at the science, because the effectiveness here is backed by some pretty fascinating research. And it all comes down to building one specific psychological skill.
When you practice these 6 skills, what you're really developing is something scientists call psychological flexibility. It's basically the ability to stay present, even when difficult thoughts and feelings show up, and still choose to act in a way that lines up with your values. It is the exact opposite of being rigid and stuck.
And check this out. The research shows us exactly why this is such a game changer. There's a clear pathway. Practicing these ACT skills builds your psychological flexibility. That flexibility then directly leads to you experiencing more positive emotions and fewer negative ones. And what does that predict? You guessed it, higher relationship quality. It's like a scientifically proven chain reaction that leads to a better connection. Okay, let's bring all this science back down to a really practical choice you can make in any tough moment. Dr. Russ Harris came up with this brilliant pair of acronyms to represent the 2 paths you can take. So in any difficult moment, you can go down the drain path. that's becoming disconnected, reactive, avoiding your feelings, getting lost inside your own mind, and neglecting your values. Or you can choose the path of love. That's letting go of the struggle, opening up and being vulnerable, acting on what you're valuing, and engaging fully in the present moment with your partner.
So the big takeaway here isn't about trying to become the perfect partner overnight. That's not the goal. It's about recognizing that in every single interaction, you have a choice. You have the power to take one small, workable step in a better direction. And remember, this is not about totally getting rid of those drain behaviors. We're all human. We're going to get reactive sometimes. The real goal, the workable one, is to just get better at noticing the choice point and to consciously choose that path of love a little more often. So, I'll leave you with this question. Forget trying to fix everything all at once. Just think about what matters most to you in your relationship. And based on that, what is one small, concrete, workable action you can commit to taking today? Because that one small step, that's where the real change always begins.